The door slammed shut behind Emily as her father's voice echoed through the vacation home in the Hamptons. "You're not welcome here anymore. Not with that lifestyle." Her suitcase tumbled down the porch steps, and just like that at 25, she was cast out from the family she thought unbreakable. Years later, standing on the same doorstep, Emily's heart raced as her mother opened the door, tears streaming, begging, "Please come back. We need you now more than ever." Emily stared at the familiar colonial-style house, its white siding now faded under the relentless New York sun. It had been 7 years since that fateful summer vacation, the one where her secret came tumbling out like a poorly packed bag. She remembered the shock on their faces when she confessed her love for Sarah, the woman who'd been her roommate in college but had become so much more. "It's unnatural," her father had bellowed, his face red with rage. "You're choosing sin over family." Her siblings had averted their eyes, her mother silent in the corner, wringing her hands. And just like that, she was excised from family photos, holiday cards, and even the will, or so she'd heard through distant cousins. Driving up from Brooklyn that morning, Emily had replayed the call in her mind 100 times. It was her sister Claire, who reached out after all these years of radio silence. "Dad's sick, Em. Really sick. Cancer. We can't do this without you." The plea had caught her off guard, stirring a whirlwind of emotions she buried deep. Anger, hurt, a flicker of pity, but mostly resolve. She wasn't the scared young woman anymore. Now 32, Emily had built a life far from the judgmental gaze of her conservative family. She ran a successful graphic design firm, had a circle of friends who accepted her without question, and most importantly, she had Sarah. Their relationship had weathered storms, but it was solid, a testament to the love that had cost her everything. As her mother, Margaret, pulled her into a hesitant hug, Emily felt the frailty in her arms. "You've changed," Margaret whispered, her voice cracking. "You look so strong." Emily stepped back, surveying the living room. It was the same. Family portraits on the mantel, minus any trace of her. Her father, Robert, sat in his recliner, oxygen tank humming beside him, his once imposing frame withered. He didn't meet her eyes at first, but when he did, there was no apology, just a weary nod. "Claire said you'd come," he muttered. The family gathered in the kitchen, the air thick with unspoken words. Claire, now married with 2 kids, fidgeted with her coffee mug. Her brother, Tom, paced near the window, his tech job in Silicon Valley evidently not preparing him for this. "We didn't know who else to turn to," Claire admitted. "The treatments are bankrupting us. Dad's insurance isn't covering everything, and Mom's been trying to work extra shifts, but..." She trailed off, glancing at Emily expectantly. Emily's stomach twisted. So this was it. The desperate plea wasn't for reconciliation, but for her wallet. She'd heard whispers through mutual friends that the family business, a small chain of hardware stores, had tanked during the pandemic. But seeing it now, the strain etched on their faces made it real. "You cut me out," Emily said evenly, her voice steady despite the storm inside. "For loving someone. And now you need my help." Robert coughed, a rattling sound that filled the room. "We made mistakes," he said weakly. "But family is family. Blood doesn't change." Emily wanted to laugh bitterly. Blood? The same blood that had rejected her when she came out? She thought of Sarah back in their Brooklyn apartment, urging her not to go. "They don't deserve you," Sarah had said, her blue eyes fierce. But Emily had felt a pull, a lingering thread of obligation that she couldn't sever. Was it weakness? Or some twisted sense of duty? As the conversation dragged on, details emerged. The cancer was stage 4 aggressive. Chemo had drained their savings. Tom had loaned what he could, but his own family was struggling. Claire's husband had lost his job. They needed $50,000 for experimental treatment, and Emily, with her thriving business, was their last hope. "We'll pay you back," Margaret promised, her eyes pleading. Emily excused herself to the porch, the same one where her world had shattered years ago. She dialed Sarah. "They're asking for money," she whispered. "It's like nothing happened." Sarah's voice was calm but edged with concern. "You don't owe them anything, Em. Remember what they did to you, to us." Hanging up, Emily leaned against the railing, the ocean breeze carrying salt and memories. That vacation had been meant to celebrate her graduation, but instead it became her exile. She'd driven back to the city alone, tears blurring the road, vowing never to look back. Yet here she was facing the ghosts. Back inside, she laid out her terms. "I'll help," she said, watching their relief. "But we talk about what happened. No more pretending." The evening unfolded in tense bursts. Robert admitted his church's influence had blinded him. "Pastor said it was a phase," he grumbled. Margaret confessed her regret for not standing up. Claire shared how she'd secretly followed Emily on social media, envious of her freedom. Tom was quieter, admitting his own biases had kept him distant. But as night fell, Emily felt the weight of their expectations. Helping them meant reopening wounds. Refusing meant living with guilt. She lay in her old bedroom staring at the ceiling, wondering if forgiveness was a gift or a trap. The next morning, over breakfast, the real conflict surfaced. "We want you back in the family," Margaret said. "Fully. But that means leaving that life behind." Emily froze. "That life? You mean Sarah?" Robert nodded. "We can't condone it. But if you repent." The hook had been baited. "Help us, but at what cost?" Emily's mind raced. This wasn't just about money, it was about control. She thought of Sarah, their shared dreams of a future together. Walking away now would affirm her independence, but the image of her father's frail form haunted her. Decisions loomed, each with a price tag far beyond dollars. As the day progressed, phone calls from Sarah grew more insistent. "Don't let them manipulate you," she urged. Emily promised she wouldn't, but doubt crept in. Was her family truly changing, or was desperation a convenient mask? By afternoon, Emily sat with Claire in the garden. "I missed you," Claire confessed. "But I was scared. Dad's word was law." Emily nodded, sharing stories of her life, the pride parades, the therapy sessions, the joy of loving freely. Claire listened, eyes widening. For a moment, connection flickered. But then Tom pulled her aside. "If you give the money, make sure it's a loan. Dad's stubborn. He won't change." The fractures showed. Family unity was an illusion, cracked by years of silence. That evening, Emily confronted Robert alone. "Why now?" she asked. He sighed. "Seeing death changes a man. I don't want to go knowing I lost a daughter." Tears pricked her eyes. Was this sincerity or survival instinct? She wired the money that night, but with conditions: therapy for the family, open dialogue. They agreed, but tension simmered. As she prepared to leave, Margaret hugged her tightly. "Come back soon. With or without her." Emily drove away, heart heavy. The plea had pulled her back, but the cost was just beginning. Back in Brooklyn, Emily's apartment felt like a sanctuary, the walls adorned with art she and Sarah had collected over the years. But as she unpacked, the weight of the weekend clung to her like fog. Sarah greeted her with a kiss, but her eyes searched Emily's face. How bad was it? Emily sank onto the couch, recounting the pleas, the conditions, the fragile admissions. "They want me back, but only on their terms," she said, voice breaking. Sarah held her, but Emily sensed a shift, a subtle distance in her touch. The following weeks blurred into a routine disrupted by constant updates from home. Claire texted daily. "Dad's responding to treatment, Mom's hopeful." But interspersed were questions about Emily's choices. "Have you thought about what Dad said?" one message read. Emily ignored them, focusing on work. Her design firm was pitching a major client, a nonprofit advocating for LGBTQ rights. The irony wasn't lost on her. Sarah, a journalist for a progressive online magazine, threw herself into her stories, often working late. Their conversations grew strained. "You're letting them back in," Sarah accused one night over dinner. "After everything." "I'm not," Emily protested. "I helped because he's dying. That's it." But deep down she questioned herself. The money transfer had been a band-aid, but the wound festered. Calls from Margaret became more frequent, laced with subtle guilt. "Your father's asking for you. He wants to make amends." Emily confided in her therapist, Dr. Lena, a no-nonsense woman in her 50s. "It's classic manipulation," Dr. Lena said. "They rejected you, now they need you. But reconciliation requires accountability." Emily nodded, but the pull was strong. Family bonds, even broken, had barbs. One evening, Sarah came home late, smelling of wine. "I met someone," she blurted. "At a networking event. We talked all night." Emily's heart plummeted. "Talked?" Sarah paced. "It's nothing physical. But with you so preoccupied with your family, I feel alone." The betrayal stung like a fresh cut. "So you seek comfort elsewhere?" "It's not like that," Sarah insisted. "I'm scared you're going back to them, changing who you are." The argument escalated, voices raised in the small space. Emily accused Sarah of abandoning her. Sarah countered that Emily was the one drifting. They slept apart that night, the silence deafening. The next day, Emily drove back to the Hamptons unannounced. She needed clarity. Robert was in bed, weaker but alert. "You came," he said, surprise in his voice. They talked for hours. He shared regrets. A strict upbringing, church dogma that shaped his views. "I was wrong," he admitted. "But I can't change overnight." Emily shared her pain, the isolation, the self-doubt. For the first time, he listened without interruption. But as she left, Margaret cornered her. "Claire's marriage is falling apart. She needs advice from you." Emily realized the web. Not just Dad's health but the family's unraveling. Tom called later, confessing his own secrets. "I'm questioning my faith," he said. "Seeing what happened to you opened my eyes." The revelations piled on. Emily felt like the family's unwitting therapist, drawn into their dramas. Back home, Sarah was waiting with apologies. "I ended it, whatever it was," she said. "But we need to talk about us." They did, raw and honest. Sarah feared losing Emily to the past. Emily admitted the temptation of belonging again. They recommitted, but cracks remained. Weeks turned to months. Emily visited more, each trip a battleground. One visit, Claire confronted her husband about his affair, the family in chaos. Emily mediated, drawing on her own experiences. But the cost mounted. Work suffered. A big pitch failed because she was distracted. Friends noticed her withdrawal. Then the turning point. Robert's doctor called Emily directly. "He's stable, but he wants a family reunion. Everyone together." Emily agreed, inviting Sarah. "If they want me back, they accept us." The family balked. "Not yet," Margaret said. "Give us time." Emily refused. All or nothing. The standoff intensified. Sarah supported her, but privately worried. "What if they cut you out again?" Emily pondered the ethics. Was forcing acceptance fair? Or was patience a form of self-betrayal? As the reunion approached, tensions peaked. Tom sided with Emily, Claire wavered. Robert grumbled but relented slightly. The day arrived, a backyard barbecue. Sarah stood by Emily's side, hand in hers. The family stared, whispers circulating. Robert addressed the group. "Emily's here with her partner. It's hard for me, but I'm trying." It was a start, but awkward silences followed. Claire pulled Emily aside. "I'm proud of you. But Dad's still struggling." That night, back in Brooklyn, Emily and Sarah debriefed. "It felt like progress," Emily said. Sarah nodded, but her eyes held doubt. "At what price?" Emily lay awake, weighing the scales. Reconciliation dangled, but the thread was thin. The next blow came via email. A church newsletter featuring Robert's testimony about praying for his wayward daughter. No mention of acceptance. Betrayal burned. Emily confronted him over the phone. "You used me." He denied it, but the damage was done. Sarah comforted her. "See? They haven't changed." But Emily wasn't ready to sever ties. Maybe they can. The internal conflict raged. Loyalty to self versus family redemption. As winter set in, Emily made a decision. She'd set boundaries, visits on her terms, no more financial aid without transparency. But then Claire called in tears. "My husband's leaving. I need a place to stay with the kids." Emily hesitated, helping mend entanglement. She agreed, but only short-term. Claire arrived with suitcases, kids in tow. The apartment buzzed with chaos. Sarah tolerated it, but friction grew. "This is our home," she said. Emily snapped. "She's family." The word hung heavy. Family, the double-edged sword. Claire's presence unearthed more secrets. She admitted envying Emily's courage. "I stayed in a bad marriage because of expectations." They bonded, but Sarah felt sidelined. One night Sarah packed a bag. "I need space. This isn't working." Emily's world cracked. The family she'd reclaimed was costing her the one she chose. With Sarah gone, the apartment echoed with emptiness. Emily stared at the door, replaying the fight. "You're choosing them over us," Sarah had said, tears in her eyes. Claire and the kids slept in the guest room, oblivious to the storm they'd unwittingly fueled. The next morning, Emily called Dr. Lena for an emergency session. "I've lost her," she confessed. "All because I couldn't let go." Dr. Lena leaned forward. "You haven't lost her yet. But you need to examine why you're holding on so tightly to a family that hurt you." Emily reflected on the years of therapy, the books on forgiveness, the support groups. Coming out had been her liberation, but the scars ran deep. Society's whispers at work, in stores, even among friends had toughened her, but family rejection was the deepest cut. Claire noticed the tension. "This is my fault," she said over coffee. "We'll find a place soon." But Emily waved it off. "Stay. We need to stick together." The irony. Sticking together had torn her apart. News from home worsened. Robert's cancer returned, more aggressive. Margaret begged Emily to visit. "He doesn't have long." With Claire settled, Emily drove up alone. The house felt like a tomb, shadows lengthening. Robert lay in bed, morphine dulling his pain. "I'm sorry," he whispered. "For everything." Emily held his hand, tears falling. "Why did it take this?" He shrugged weakly. "Fear. Pride." They talked of childhood memories, the good ones, before division. For a moment, peace settled. But Margaret interrupted. "The will, he's changing it. You're back in." Emily recoiled. "I don't want money. I want acceptance." Margaret sighed. "He's trying. But the church." The M-word, church. The institution that had poisoned their views. Tom arrived, supportive but pragmatic. "Take it, Em. It's security." Security. Emily had built her own. Driving back, she called Sarah, leaving a voicemail. "I miss you. Let's talk." No response. At work, a new project landed. Designing a campaign for marriage equality. It reignited her passion, reminding her of why she fought. Claire's kids, niece and nephew, brought unexpected joy. Playing board games, Emily saw glimpses of a future. Family redefined. But Sarah's absence gnawed. Friends urged reconciliation. "Fight for her," one said. Emily did. She showed up at Sarah's temporary sublet, flowers in hand. "I was wrong," she admitted. "I let them pull me in too deep." Sarah's eyes softened. "I felt invisible." They talked for hours, unpacking hurts. Sarah confessed her flirtation had been a cry for attention. Emily vowed boundaries. They reconciled tentatively, Sarah moving back. But trust was fragile. Then the ultimate test. Robert's funeral. He passed quietly 2 weeks later. The service was in the family church, packed with congregants. Emily sat with Sarah, holding hands defiantly. Whispers rippled. "That's her. The one who." In his eulogy, Tom mentioned Emily's return, praising her strength. Claire echoed it. But the pastor's sermon veered into traditional values. A subtle jab. Afterward, at the wake, relatives approached cautiously. An aunt hugged Emily. "We're glad you're here with your friend." "Partner," Emily corrected firmly. Margaret pulled her aside. "Thank you for coming. And for bringing her." A small victory. But grief mixed with anger. Robert's deathbed apology felt incomplete. The will reading revealed surprises. Equal shares for all siblings, plus a letter from Robert. "Forgive me, Emily. Live your truth." Tears flowed. Was this redemption? Back home, life stabilized. Claire found an apartment nearby, staying in Brooklyn for a fresh start. She divorced, embracing independence. Sarah and Emily grew closer, therapy helping mend bonds. But society intruded. A client dropped Emily's firm after learning of her lifestyle. Protests erupted over LGBTQ rights, headlines screaming division. Emily joined a march, Sarah by her side. Chants filled the air, empowering yet exhausting. One night, Claire confessed a secret. "I think I might be like you." Emily's jaw dropped. "Bi? Gay?" Claire nodded. "I've always suppressed it." Seeing you gave me courage. The revelation bonded them but added complexity. Helping Claire navigate coming out meant reliving her own pain. Sarah worried. Don't lose yourself in this. Emily balanced, but the scales tipped when Margaret visited Brooklyn. I want to understand, she said. They toured the city, Margaret meeting Sarah formally. Awkward but genuine. Over dinner, Margaret admitted. I was wrong. Fear ruled me. Emily forgave but cautiously. As spring bloomed, Emily reflected on the journey. Losses. Years of estrangement. Nearly her relationship. Gains. Deeper bonds, self-awareness. But a new conflict arose. Tom called. The family business needed revival. Join us? Your design skills could rebrand it. Tempting, but it meant moving closer to home, immersing in old dynamics. Sarah posed. It's a trap. Emily agonized. Opportunity or obligation? She declined, choosing her life in Brooklyn. Tom understood, but Margaret guilt her. Family first. The phrase haunted. What was family? Claire thrived dating a woman secretly. Emily mentored her, but it strained her own energy. One evening Sarah proposed. Marry me. Let's build our family. Joy surged but doubt lingered. Was she ready with unresolved ties? They got engaged, planning a small ceremony. Inviting family was the dilemma. Margaret accepted, Tom too. But whispers of disapproval surfaced. The wedding day approached, tensions high. Claire stood as maid of honor, proud. But the night before, Margaret called. I can't come. It's against my beliefs. Heartbreak anew. Emily cried in Sarah's arms. Why can't they just love me? The ceremony proceeded without her. Vows exchanged, rings on fingers. Afterward, Claire confronted Margaret over the phone. You lost her again. Margaret relented, sending a card. I'm sorry. Working on it. Progress incremental. Emily and Sarah honeymooned in California, basking in freedom. But upon return, a letter from the estate lawyer. Disputes over the will. Siblings arguing shares. Emily sighed. The cycle continued. She chose distance, focusing on her marriage. Yet the internal tug persisted. Was cutting ties strength or cowardice? Married life brought a semblance of normalcy, but the undercurrents of family drama persisted like a low hum. Emily and Sarah settled into routines, morning coffees, evening walks in Prospect Park, shared dreams of adopting someday. At 33, Emily felt grounded, her design firm expanding with a new office. But calls from home disrupted the peace. Claire, now openly exploring her identity, leaned on Emily heavily. How do I tell Mom? She asked during a visit. Emily advised patience, drawing from experience. Lead with love but set boundaries. Claire did, and Margaret's reaction was mixed. Tears, questions, but no outright rejection. I don't understand, Margaret said over speakerphone. But I love you. Emily marveled at the shift, however small. Was time healing wounds? Tom, however, stirred trouble. Bitter about the business's failure, he blamed Emily's absence. If you'd helped, we'd be fine, he accused in a heated call. Emily fired back. I gave enough. You supported the rejection. The siblings' rift widened. Tom distanced himself, siding with conservative relatives. Society amplified the strain. Anti-LGBTQ legislation loomed in several states, headlines fueling anxiety. Sarah's articles exposed the impacts, but it took a toll. I'm burned out, she admitted one night. Emily supported her, but her own doubts resurfaced. Had forgiving her family been a mistake? A pivotal moment came at a family gathering Thanksgiving, the first since the wedding. Margaret hosted, insisting on inclusivity. Emily and Sarah arrived warily. The table was set with familiar dishes, but the atmosphere crackled. Tom arrived late, terse. Claire brought her new girlfriend, Lisa, adding to the mix. Conversation started light, but veered into politics. Tom ranted about woke culture. Eyes on Emily. Sarah defended sharply. It's about rights, not trends. The argument escalated. Margaret tried mediating. We're family, let's not. But Tom pushed. Dad would be ashamed. Emily stood. Dad apologized. You should too. Tom stormed out, leaving silence. Later, Margaret confided. He's struggling. Lost his job, faith shaken. Emily empathized but drew the line. No more toxicity. The visit ended on a bittersweet note. Bonds with Margaret and Claire strengthened, but Tom's alienation hurt. Back home, Emily processed with Sarah. I feel guilty. Sarah hugged her. You shouldn't. You've given so much. But the cost accumulated. Emily's health suffered, insomnia, anxiety. Dr. Lena suggested a break from family contact. Emily tried, but Claire's crises pulled her back. Lisa broke up with her, devastating Claire. Emily consoled, but it strained her marriage. Sarah expressed frustration. I'm here too. We need time for us. Emily agreed, planning a getaway. But Margaret fell ill. A minor stroke. Duty called. Emily visited the hospital, Sarah staying behind. Margaret recovered, but the scare prompted reflection. I've been selfish, she admitted. Relying on you after pushing you away. Emily nodded. It hurts. They talked deeply, Margaret sharing her own suppressed dreams. A career abandoned for family. Understanding dawned. Margaret had been trapped by expectations too. Emily returned home renewed, vowing balance. But then betrayal from an unexpected source. Claire, in a vulnerable moment, confided in Tom about Emily's past financial help. Tom twisted it, accusing Emily of buying influence in a family email chain. Fury boiled. Emily confronted Claire. Why? Claire apologized. I was hurting. He manipulated me. Trust fractured. Emily distanced from Claire, focusing on Sarah. The isolation felt familiar but chosen this time. As the year turned, Emily's firm landed a national campaign for LGBTQ youth support. Pride swelled, purpose reignited. Sarah proposed starting a family. Adoption? Let's do it. Excitement bloomed but fears lingered. Would family drama affect a child? They proceeded, attending classes, home studies. During the process, a social worker asked about family support. Emily hesitated. It's complicated. The truth. Supportive in patches, destructive in others. Margaret surprised them by visiting, offering help. I want to be a grandma, properly. Tentative reconciliation. But Tom escalated. He sued over the estate, claiming undue influence from Emily's agenda. The legal battle drained resources, emotions. Emily hired a lawyer, fighting back. This ends now. Court dates loomed, family divided. Claire sided with Emily, testifying to Robert's wishes. Margaret wavered but ultimately supported Emily. The case dragged, exposing ugly truths. Tom's homophobia surfaced in depositions. Emily stood strong, Sarah her rock. In a quiet moment, Emily questioned her choices. Had returning been worth it? The judge ruled in Emily's favor, but victory felt hollow. Family shattered further. Tom cut ties, moving west. Margaret moved to Brooklyn, seeking closeness. Emily allowed it, but with guards up. Life moved forward. Adoption progressed. They welcomed a baby girl, Mia. Joy filled their home, but shadows remained. Claire rebuilt, finding love again. Margaret bonded with Mia, evolving her views through exposure. Sarah and Emily thrived. Their love tested but enduring. Yet, Emily pondered the moral maze. Forgiveness versus self-preservation. One evening, watching Mia sleep, Emily whispered to Sarah, "Was it all worth the pain?" Sarah smiled. "Look what we have." But the question lingered. With Mia's arrival, the apartment transformed into a haven of baby giggles and sleepless nights. At 34, Emily embraced motherhood, her days a blur of diapers and designs. Sarah balanced work with parenting, their partnership a beacon amid chaos. But family intrusions persisted. Margaret's weekly visits brought warmth but occasional slips. When will she have a father figure? Reminded Emily of lingering biases. Claire stabilized, became a doting aunt. Her own journey inspired Emily, but past betrayals cast shadows. Society's pressures amplified. School forms questioned two moms. Neighbors stared. Emily advocated at PTA meetings, fighting for inclusion. One day, a letter arrived from Tom. After 2 years of silence. I was wrong. Can we talk? Emily debated. Sarah cautioned. Protect our family. But curiosity won. They met in a neutral cafe. Tom looked worn. Divorce, job loss, rock bottom, he admitted. Therapy opened my eyes. I'm sorry for everything. Emily listened, guarded. Words are easy. Actions matter. He nodded. I want to know Mia. Be better. She agreed to supervise visits, testing waters. Margaret mediated, the family piecing together fragilely. But internal conflicts raged. Emily questioned if welcoming Tom risked Mia's well-being. Dr. Lena advised. Forgiveness is for you, not them. But boundaries are key. Emily set them. No judgment, full acceptance. Tom complied, slowly earning trust. He attended pride events, educated himself. Claire flourished, engaged to Lisa. Reconciled and stronger. The extended family gathered for Mia's first birthday, a milestone of unity. But tension simmered. A relative's offhand comment sparked debate. Kids need traditional roles. Emily shut it down. Love is what matters. The party continued, but the incident highlighted ongoing struggles. As Mia grew, Emily reflected on her path. The initial banishment had forged her resilience. The return tested her limits. Losses, time, trust, nearly her marriage. Gains, growth, a chosen family, deeper love. Sarah and Emily celebrated their 5th anniversary with a vow renewal, affirming their bond. Margaret attended, proud. Tom too changed. Claire's wedding followed, a joyous affair. Life settled, but Emily knew peace was tentative. A new challenge. Mia's questions about grandparents. Why was Grandma sad before? Emily explained age-appropriately, teaching acceptance. Society evolved slowly. Laws passed, attitudes shifted, but backlash persisted. Emily's firm launched a pro bono initiative for LGBTQ families, giving back. In quiet moments, Emily pondered ethics. Had she compromised too much? Or not enough? The story culminated in a family vacation, the Hamptons' house, full circle. They gathered, laughter echoing where once shouts had. But as the sun set, Emily stood on the porch remembering the slam. Growth had come at a price. Was forgiving a family that rejected you for who you love an act of strength, or a surrender to societal pressure? With Mia's arrival, the apartment transformed into a haven of baby giggles and sleepless nights. At 34, Emily embraced motherhood, her days a blur of diapers and designs. Sarah balanced work with parenting, their partnership a beacon amid chaos. The early months were exhausting, but filled with wonder. Mia's first smile, her tiny hands grasping theirs. Emily often watched her sleep, marveling at the life they created together, a testament to their enduring love. But family intrusions persisted. Margaret's weekly visits brought warmth, stories from Emily's childhood retold with softer edges. Yet, occasional slips revealed old mindsets. When will she have a father figure? Margaret asked once, innocently but piercingly. Emily responded calmly. She has 2 parents who love her. That's enough. Margaret nodded, learning, but the moments accumulated, reminding Emily that change was gradual. Claire, now stabilized in her own apartment, became a doting aunt. She babysat often, her own journey of self-discovery inspiring Emily. You've shown me it's possible, Claire said during a park outing. But past betrayals, Claire's slip to Tom cast long shadows. Emily forgave, but vigilance remained. Society's pressures amplified the personal. School enrollment forms questioned 2 moms, requiring extra explanations. Neighbors stared curiously, some warmly, others judgmentally. Emily joined the PDA, advocating for inclusive policies, her voice steady from years of practice. Our families deserve equality, she argued at meetings, drawing on her experiences to push for change. One crisp autumn day, a letter arrived from Tom. After 2 years of stony silence, the envelope trembled in Emily's hands. I was wrong about so many things, it read. Can we talk? I've been in therapy reevaluating everything. Emily stared at the words, a mix of skepticism and hope swirling. Sarah read it, her face hardening. He's hurt you enough. Protect our family first. But curiosity, and perhaps a lingering hope for full reconciliation, won out. They met in a neutral Manhattan cafe. Mia in a stroller for a buffer. Tom looked worn, lines etched deeper, his tech swagger gone. Divorce hit hard, he admitted over coffee. Lost the job too, rock bottom. Therapy opened my eyes to my biases, my role in pushing you away. Emily listened, arms crossed. Words are easy, Tom. Actions matter. What makes you think you deserve another chance? He met her gaze. I don't deserve it, but I want to earn it. I want to know Mia be the uncle she deserves. No more judgment, I promise. She agreed to supervise visits starting small. The first at a park. Tom awkward but genuine playing peekaboo with Mia. Sarah observed protective. Margaret mediated subsequent gatherings, the family piecing together fragilely. This is progress, she said, her own evolution evident in her acceptance of Sarah. But internal conflicts raged within Emily. Nights found her awake, questioning if welcoming Tom risked exposing Mia to potential harm. What if he relapsed into old views? Dr. Lena advised during sessions. Forgiveness is for your peace, not their validation. But boundaries are non-negotiable. Enforce them rigorously. Emily did. No visits without prior discussion. Immediate end if any negativity surfaced. Tom complied, slowly earning trust. He attended a pride event with them, rainbow flag in hand, asking questions humbly. I get it now, he said afterward. Love is love. Claire flourished meanwhile, engaged to Lisa after a rocky reconciliation. Their wedding planning brought joy. Emily as matron of honor. The extended family gathered for Mia's first birthday, a milestone symbolizing unity. Balloons floated, cake-smeared faces. But tension simmered beneath. A distant relative's offhand comment, kids need traditional roles, sparked a debate. Emily shut it down firmly. Love and stability matter most. Our family proves it. The party continued uneasily, but the incident highlighted ongoing struggles. Not everyone had evolved. As Mia toddled into her second year, Emily reflected deeply on her path. The initial banishment at 25 had forged her resilience, teaching her self-worth. The desperate Pleas years later had tested her limits, forcing confrontations with pain and prejudice. The losses were stark. Years of estrangement eroded trust, nearly her marriage to Sarah. The gains, though personal growth, a chosen family blended with blood. A deeper battle-tested love. Sarah and Emily celebrated their 5th anniversary with a private vow renewal in Central Park, affirming their commitment. Through it all, you're my anchor, Emily whispered. Margaret attended, tears of pride. Tom too, his presence a symbol of change. Claire's wedding followed months later, a joyous rooftop affair in Brooklyn. Vows exchanged under string lights, toasts to new beginnings. Life settled into a rhythm, but Emily knew peace was tentative, earned daily. A new challenge arose as Mia grew curious. Why was Grandma sad before? She asked innocently, pointing to old photos. Emily explained age-appropriately, weaving lessons of acceptance. People learn and grow, sweetie. Love wins. Society continued evolving slowly. Protective laws passed in some states, but backlash flared in others. Emily's firm launched a pro bono initiative supporting LGBTQ families, channeling her experiences into advocacy. In quiet evenings, Emily pondered the intricate moral maze she'd navigated. Had she compromised her identity too much in pursuit of family ties? Or had holding firm been the true victory? The decisions, each with their steep prices, shaped not just her life, but those around her. The story reached its poignant close during a family vacation. The Hamptons house, coming full circle 7 years after the return. Laughter echoed through rooms where once angry shouts had dominated. Mia splashed in the pool, Tom teaching her to swim, Claire and Lisa lounging nearby, Margaret preparing dinner with Sarah. As the sun dipped low, casting golden hues, Emily stood on the porch, the same one that had witnessed her exile and return. The ocean waves crashed rhythmically, a reminder of time's inexorable flow. She thought of the shocks, the pleas, the betrayals and awakenings. Growth had demanded sacrifices, but here they were, imperfect but together. Yet the core question lingered, inviting reflection. Was forgiving a family that once rejected you for who you love an act of profound strength, or merely a surrender to the relentless pressure of societal norms?